Howdy do, buckaroos. Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a long time since I posted some stuff, but between the holidays, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and here in Colorado it was hunting season as well, which included me getting everyone's vehicles ready for hunting season. Did injectors and a fast lift pump on my parents' 3rd gen Dodge Cummins. We put a new winch bumper and winch on my stepdad's Toyota Tacoma. Got his dad's 7.3 set up with the new set of glow plugs, so just been super busy, and I hope you all had a great Halloween and a great Thanksgiving. And full disclosure, the race truck's actually broke right now. It needs a flex plate, so it's parked. The dually has no motor in it, and the Duramax has no motor in it. So I was struggling to kind of find content for you guys. I got a lot of money tied up in getting 3 vehicles running now instead of just 1 or 2. But I figured I'm going to show you guys another one of my little hobbies that I have. And as the channel is named Buck Wild Motorsports, I love things with wheels and a motor. So I'm going to show you guys a little hobby I have here at the house. And it's quite a bit cheaper than race trucks and diesel pickups in general, but I think it's just as much fun, and especially this time of year, we finally have snow outside, it's cold, so this is a motorsport you can actually do inside. So I'm going to flip the camera around and kind of show you guys what I'm talking about. I'm talking about these guys, RC rock crawlers. Now, I know this isn't my typical content, but I still love these things to death. I have a bunch of fun with them, and I want to kind of walk you guys through these. And the Bronco is my newest one, actually. A lot of the parts on this came off my C10, my OG. Pardon me. And that's because this thing is getting ready to go under the knife, get a lot of new parts put on it, from the ground up, basically. So I'm going to kind of walk you through the C10 a little bit, but I'm going to do a couple build videos on this showing all the new parts I'm putting on, because right now it doesn't have a front servo in it, because I stole the servo out to put in this, because the servo horn in this stripped out, and I knew this was going under the knife, so I didn't figure it needed a good servo in the truck that I'm taking apart anyways. So I put the good servo in here so I could still play around with this. Especially went over to my parents on Thanksgiving, and my brother and my stepdad both have a little crawler like this. We were playing around out at their place. But so the C10, like I said, is the OG. I bought this probably a year ago just because a buddy of mine had a couple, and he had a little course in his house, which I'm actually going to show you because I ended up with the course. He ended up moving and couldn't take it with him. But I bought this in bone stock, brand new, and it is far from that now. So these are Axial SCX24s, which as far as like RC crawlers go, I'm a diehard Axial guy. I actually have a Axial SCX10 right here, which we could talk about later. But this is the SCX24. They both are. And like I said, bought a bone stock, and it is far from that now. It currently has a OGRC carbon fiber low center gravity chassis on it, which I'm actually going to take off and build this deadbolt with from scratch, which I'll explain why I have a deadbolt body here in a little bit. But I just put this chassis on here just to try it out. This one's getting a different chassis completely, but stock axle housings, but it has 30% Mofo RC overdrive gears in the front, has a Mofo RC heavy diff cover with a skid plate in the front, as you can see. It's gonna hard to see the mofo right there. It has Trial 18-gram brass knuckles, which these are just massive units. And like you will find out here soon, I'm a huge proponent in Trial brass products. They are super high quality, a little bit more pricey than the other stuff, but great quality. It has 7mm brass hex extensions all the way around, front and back, just to get it a little bit more width. Endura servo mount, because the Emax servo used to be in this. That's why it has the black and brass horn, because it matches this black and brass steering. But this had an Emax servo with this servo in the Endura tray. This has 58mm Power Hobby shocks, which, as far as bolt-on specific for the SCX24, these are the longest shocks you can get. They have a ridiculous amount of travel, almost too much. That was actually the first thing I ever purchased for this, and I kind of regret it because it takes a lot of tuning and everything to get these 58s to work properly. But the Bronco only has 43mm, and it has plenty of flex. This thing is just ridiculous. It'll flex dang near 90 degrees. As far as the rear axle goes, it is, again, stock housing with the 7mm hex extensions. It has the Mofo RC medium weight diff cover, just to kind of bias some weight forward, helps with climbing and everything like that. Stock gears, like I said, and that may seem weird that I have overdrive gears in the front than the rear if you're not used to RC cars, but it won't affect these transmissions or anything. These don't have like a specific transfer case or anything. It's all built into here. With us, you have your pinion gear on your motor, and then a spur gear, which goes to the gear that spins your drive shafts, and everything spins the same speed up here, but they have worm gears in these, so it'll just spin your front tires faster, which helps with turning radius because your front tires are pulling faster, so it'll swing the thing around faster because these are spinning faster. And it also helps with uphill climbing because these front tires are spinning a little bit faster in the rear to help pull you up over an obstacle. So that's basically it as far as running gear. Stock housings for now, overdrive gears in the front with Trial knuckles, stock axle shafts with the 7mm Endura brass hex extensions, stock electronics, stock ESC. I just took the lid off because I was experimenting with how I was mounting everything in this OGRC chassis. It has the Little Guy Racing Parts Predator 50 turn, which, like I said, I've had this thing for a year, and this engine's probably been in here 11 months, and that thing has never skipped a beat. Plenty of power. I love this as far as brush motor goes, and this is, shoot, I think I only paid $12 for this motor. I love it so much that the Bronco has the same motor. I love the Little Guy Racing Parts motors. And speaking of Little Guy Racing Parts, as you can see, I got the best tires ever for a 24 scale or 18th scale. I have the Little Guy Racing Part Swamp King tires on Endura beadlock wheels, the bronze, which I think goes great with the gray color of the truck. And these are functional screws for the beadlock rings. It's kind of a pain to put together, but once you do, it looks fantastic. Same wheels on here, just silver on the Bronco. And I have Crawler Innovations Little Nova soft foams in these tires, and they are also vented. As you can see, I kind of cut a little slit in that one for a vent, so it helps the tire conform real nice. Like, I'm hardly pushing on it. And these tires still have quite good sidewall strength, so it doesn't fold over super bad, which on this, these tires used to be on this. These are the Endura, I believe they call them Kraken tires now. They used to be just Enduro mud terrains, but as you can see, this thing is sidewalls rolling over, just sitting here. You could dang near the bead lock is touching. These tires are really bad about the sidewall is super soft. They climb great, but they, especially on the Bronco being a hard body, and this is a thin Lexan plastic. This is a hard, almost model-esque hard plastic body. It's top heavy, and with these soft sidewall tires, the side hill aspect of it, like going like this, it's, as you can see, the tire is just rolling over. And this is, this is with the stock pretty stiff foams in these tires. These tires will benefit greatly from a 3D printed insert, so it's super stiff sidewall side to side, but the way they're printed, it'll help it squish real nice. Like these squish great, but like I said, the sidewall roll is ridiculous. But these are by far my favorite tire I've ran so far, the Swamp Kings, which I might end up putting on the Deadbolt when I build it, because the Deadbolt's going to be a competition style rig is what I'm going for on that one. And I've had amazing luck with these, and I've played with it in the mud, I've played with it in loose sand, I've played with it in slick rock, jagged rock here in western Colorado, dirt. These tires do great everywhere, and that's with the soft foams. And the running gear on this one is quite a bit heavier than this one, and I still don't have the sidewall rolling problems. So right now, as far as the C10 goes, that's about it. Stock transmission. I guess I could flip it over. I do have the Endura brass high clearance links, just to add a little bit more weight down low. Stock skid. And I did have to modify my drive shafts, because with the shocks being so long, the stock drive shaft will actually slide out. So I made this one. Sorry about that, I had to take a little break, but as I was talking about, I custom made these drive shafts. I installed a longer splined part of this front drive shaft, and then in the rear I ended up doing the same as well. So even at full droop on these huge 58mm shocks, no driveline issues whatsoever. Turned out real nice, and eventually I would like to upgrade to metal ones when this truck goes brushless, but as of right now I've only had the front one pop out once, and it was because one of the front tires was in a bind and that torquey brushed motor just popped the driveline apart. So I think for now that's enough talking about the C10. We'll talk about it a lot more once we get into all the new parts, but now let's chat about the Bronco a little bit. So, got the Bronco used on Facebook Marketplace for $100, which is a pretty good deal even for a bone stock one. And when I bought it, it had the Hot Racing aluminum high clearance links, which it was actually 3 linked still in the front. And what I mean by 3 link, sorry about that, is these from the factory. There we are. These from the factory have a Y-link as the upper link in the front, and that's for all the SCX24s. This is a factory plastic one. All the factory links on these are plastic, which they work great for stock, but more to be desired, of course. So this one came with the aftermarket aluminum links, but it had this upper aluminum 3-link as well, which you can kind of see it's clearanced for the front drive shaft, which is a big issue on these, even factory. You can see the rub marks on the drive shaft from the factory 3-link right here, and that's why you convert them to 4-link, which this one is 4-link, and these are just Trio upper links that you can buy separately. You can see the Trio there and the Hot Racing here. So that's why I upgraded to the 4-link. And luckily you can buy just the upper links to upgrade it to 4-link. So that way if you do end up buying the aluminum 3-link setup, you can just buy the upper links, convert it to 4-link, and you get much better travel, no more rubbing on your front drive line, anything like that. So like I was saying, when I bought it, it had these aluminum high clearance links. It had a aftermarket Power Hobby steering servo, which this has been a pretty decent servo. Won't focus, but it's a Power Hobby 55 milligram Metal Gear 9 gram micro servo, and it still works, but like I said, I stripped out the factory plastic servo horn, so I just swapped it out for the E-Max servo out of C10. So it came with the links, that it came with some factory length aftermarket shocks, which I ended up giving to my brother. And other than that, it was stock. But this wasn't always a Bronco. This was a deadbolt. So the guy I got it from bought the deadbolt because it's actually the cheapest out of all of them. And then he ended up buying his own Bronco body, swapping it all over. And that's why he bought the aftermarket links, because they are the same wheelbase overall, the deadbolt and the Bronco, which Bronco and C10 are identical. And these are technically the same wheelbase, but the deadbolt has a longer rear link and a shorter front link. So that's why he bought the aftermarket links, was to convert it to the Bronco style wheelbase. And he just gave me the body and threw it in. So I got the Bronco, and I had to make a front drive shaft for this one as well, because it had the deadbolt front drive shaft, which is entirely too short. Because like I said, the front links on a deadbolt are like 10 millimeters shorter than the Bronco. So when you put these long links on with the shorter drive shaft, you couldn't hardly drive it without the front drive shaft popping out. So I made a front drive shaft for this one as well. You can buy the parts from Axial or A-Main Hobbies. You can buy a bag of assorted driveline parts, which I have right in there, so I can make spares, add on, things like that. So I instantly got to work, took the old C10 wheels and tires. Well, tires. I bought new wheels, put those on here. So it's got the 62 millimeter Enduro tires. And that's when I upgraded to the Swamp Kings on the C10. I got rid of the interior because, like I've said, these Broncos are hard bodies, so they're very top heavy. And they like to tip over when you're climbing easier than the C10 does and things like that. So I tried to lighten the body up as much as I could by getting rid of the interior. I cut a lot, well, not a lot, but these came factory with the fender flare that was molded into the body that I cut out to make clearance for these big tires. Got rid of the front bumper and the rear bumper. Moved the headlights into the headlight buckets, because from the factory they use these as fog lights in the factory bumper. As far as body, that's as far as that goes. The paint job isn't the best. As you can see, it's kind of runny. I bought it that way. I bought it with this blue paint job and everything. And I definitely drive them like I stole them, even like my 1-to-1 full-size trucks, so I don't care too bad that the body's messed up. Eventually I want to put a 90s model Chevy body on this frame, so I'll beat the Bronco body until it doesn't want to be beat no more. And I love the stance on this thing. It's just short and wide. So that's about as far as it goes for body. Let's take a look under here. The C10 has pins on here These came with Velcro, and if you're playing in the dusty dirt, the Velcro doesn't last very long. So I just super glued some magnets here and to the body, so then it just, very strong rare earth magnet, definitely doesn't come open unless you want it to. Got the headlights, like I said, C10 servo. This also has V1 electronics, which only came in the C10 and the deadbolt. The Bronco, if it was originally a Bronco, would have came with V2 electronics, which is a blue box and not this black box. But the black box I like because you can use this black box to go brushless, because these boxes are ESCs and receiver transmitters at the same time. It's all built into one. And the V2 doesn't have a channel 2, which you can kind of see right there. Channel 2 is your throttle, because that's STR steering, throttle, auxiliary, which used auxiliary for lights, things like that, LED, and then the little chip at the end is your drag brake. So like I said, this originally would have came with V2 electronics, but because it was a deadbolt, it has V1 electronics, which is fine by me. And this one, actually, it's stock frame rails, but it has the Grizzly Works low center gravity chassis kit, which is this 3D printed setup here and back here. And this all came out of the C10 before I went to an aftermarket chassis on the C10. Now I moved it over to here, which from the factory, your battery mounts back here and your ESC mounts up here. But that puts all the weight on the back, so when you're trying to climb a hill, it's very tippy. So what Grizzly Works did, which I got this off Etsy on the Grizzly Works store on Etsy, it's $10. Some of the best $10 you could spend on one of these. And it moves your battery up here to the front. So instead of your battery sitting back here, which this is a massive aftermarket battery, this is the battery it comes with, 300 milliamp hour, or 350. This is a 900. I mean, look at the difference. I bought this when I got this chassis kit in the C10 because I wanted to be able to play longer than the 45 minutes to an hour this will last you dang near all day. But now the battery tucks in up in the front here, down low in the chassis, helps with your center of gravity, with your climbing, everything. So I have very high praise for the Grizzly Works LCG chassis kit. And as you can see, it has plenty of shock mounting locations, front and rear. Super cool kit. Again, same with this one, stock trans, little guy racing parts, Predator 50 turn motor, 50 size, which the Grizzly Works comes clearanced for that. It's kind of hard to tell, but on a stock battery tray, which is what this is, you have to cut this front leg off to clear the motor, because this is a bigger than stock size motor. A stock size is a 30 size 88 turn, so as you can see, much shorter than the little guy racing parts motor. So this guy fits in here fine, but once you put the 50 size motor in, you have to cut this leg off to clear the motor. But Grizzly Works did that for you. It's already clearanced. You literally just bolt this thing on, you can put your big motor on, you're ready to go. On this I have the 43 millimeter Injora double barrel shocks. Of course I got them in blue to match the Bronco. And again, the C10 has a stupid ridiculous amount of flex. This one is perfect. Still plenty more than factory flex, but it's not too much. I have this thing pretty well dialed to where I like it now. Now we can flip it over, and I can kind of talk to you about that. So all the brass that's on this thing, it is an entire kit that comes with your front knuckles, both diff covers, and it came with some hex extensions. It came with wheel weights, patty weights, what people like to call them, because they look like a brass patty, like a hamburger patty. And all that stuff was like $20 from Hobby Park. And I gave the patty weights to my brother. I gave the brass hex extensions to a friend of mine for his son's rig. And I have these Trio plus 5mm weighted hex extensions. That whole black ring you see there is solid brass, which helps this thing stay planted a lot. I usually don't like putting that much weight on the outside because if you get this thing in a bind real bad, it's easy to break an axle, things like that. But with this Bronco, you need as much weight as you can down low as you can go, and these wheel spacers did wonders. So plus 5mm wheel weights / hex extensions, brass knuckles, brass diff covers front and rear, stock gears front and back. Like I was saying, the C10 has overdrive gears in the front. This is stock front and rear, stock skid. And other than that, this thing is just simple, cheap, and it does pretty well. The C10 will outperform it basically anywhere, just because of the lighter body and a little bit bigger tires and a better tire in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion. The Swamp King tires are right there, probably top 3 best tires you can buy. In my opinion, they are the best. Especially a big tire, a 64mm. For a while, they were the biggest tire on the market. So now we're getting up to 74mm, which I think is ridiculous, unless you're building like an Enduro rock buggy or something like that. But I like doing the scale body stuff, which 64 is about as big as you want to go. But yeah, the Bronco's doing extremely well. Once I put that Grizzly Works chassis kit in it, this thing jumped leaps and bounds. Just getting that I was able to put the big battery in it, because you can't put the big battery up front here unless you do this chassis kit. You can fit it in the back fine, but up here you can't. So I'm glad I did that chassis kit so I could put that big battery in and put it way down low, and it turned this thing into a monster for fairly cheap, honestly. I could go through and tally all that stuff up if you guys are interested and see how much money I have into it just in parts, because like I said, you can find cheaper deals. I paid $100 for it, and it already had some upgrades. The truck I bought brand new, 130 bone stock. But the Bronco, I love it. I love the scale look of it. Even though I'm a diehard Chevy guy, I just love the look of this new Bronco. I can't wait to build this guy either. Can't build. It's kind of styled after an old early Bronco or maybe a Scout, but it's not a licensed body, whereas the Bronco and the C10 are both licensed from Ford and Chevy respectively. Axial paid for the licensing to use the actual Bronco moniker and the Chevrolet emblems and all that good stuff. So these are really good scale bodies. Alright guys, so I know that's not cool 6.5 content, but I just wanted to divulge you guys into another cool hobby that you can also get into in these winter months, and it's super fun, super addicting. You can have fun with the kids. You can beat these things to death, and I have yet to break any parts on mine. And I have big, heavy tires, big motors, all that stuff. They just take it. And I left my C10 stock for a couple months, and I loved it to death. It was almost more fun then because it made everything more challenging, and they're just real great fun. I know I have made content a long time, and that's why I figured, hell, why not? They're cool trucks. I know a lot of you guys like to play with stuff like this, or you didn't even know it existed, and you're going to be bored this winter in the house, so here's an idea. But stay tuned. I am in the middle of editing a video about the Duramax motor, so stay tuned for that. But let me know what you think about this RC content. Let me know if you want to see any more, and hopefully it might bring some more viewers to the channel to show this cool RC stuff. And like I've said for a long time, I like anything with wheels and a motor, even if it's a 24 scale RC car. Yeah, let me know what you guys think about RC content, if you'd like to see any more, if you'd like me to go more in depth on each one, or if you'd like to see the progression of the C10, because I have a lot of cool parts sitting here for it. If you guys want to see all the new parts go together on it, let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, share, subscribe, comment, hit the bell, and I will see you on the next one.